Deep in the Bazaar district of Bangladesh, there's this massive, silent piece of history, Shamernagar Airport. For over 80 years, its runway has seen world wars, the birth of a nation, and then decades of quiet neglect. Today, we're going to dive into its forgotten story and the new promises of bringing it back to life. So, why is this old airport such a big deal? To really get it, you first have to understand the sheer scale of this place. The numbers alone tell you a story of huge ambition. First off, the runway itself. We're talking 6,000 feet. That is long enough to handle some seriously large aircraft, which is a dead giveaway that this place was built for some heavy-duty action. And get this, the total area is a whopping 620 acres. That makes it one of the largest airports in all of Southeast Asia by land area. It's a real sleeping giant just hidden in plain sight. And this isn't just some forgotten history. For generations, locals like 80-year-old Shamchu Mia have lived right beside it. They've heard the stories, passed down the memories. They remember when this airfield played a major role on the world stage. So let's get into that role. Its story begins in the middle of a massive global conflict. It was forged for one strategic purpose, more than 80 years ago. This timeline just lays out its incredible journey. Built by the British in 1942, it almost immediately became a vital hub for the U.S. military. They used it for the incredibly dangerous over-the-hump flights, this treacherous supply route over the Himalayas to China. But its story didn't stop there. After a tragic commercial crash in 1970, it found a new historic calling. In 1971, serving as the very first base for the Kilo Force, which was basically the start of the modern Bangladesh Air Force. So you have this place with an incredible history, right? A key military asset, a symbol of national liberation, which really begs the question, why on earth has it been commercially silent for more than 50 years? Well, the answer is really just a string of setbacks. Things started going downhill after a major accident in 1968, and then that fatal crash just 2 years later really hurt its chances for commercial flights. Even when a private airline tried to revive it back in '95, it just didn't work out. So this massive airport was left dormant, only used for a little bit of military training. But you know, what makes the whole story even more frustrating is the long, long history of promises to bring it back. Promises that never, ever took off. Let's run through them. The first big promise came way back in 2009. The Awami League government had just come to power, and the aviation minister announced, "We're reopening the airport." And you know, people got their hopes up. But nothing happened. Crickets. Then, fast forward 7 years to 2016. A new minister visits, sees the potential, and makes the exact same promise. Hopes were raised all over again. And I think you can see the pattern here. Just last year in 2023, a third minister comes along and, you guessed it, makes the same declaration. So that's 3 big promises across 3 different government terms, and yet the runway is still silent. You can imagine how this has created some deep skepticism. A local lecturer, MD Sitab Ali, puts it perfectly. People are caught somewhere between decades of disappointment and that little spark of hope that won't go out. They've heard it all before, but they still want to believe. So that brings us to the big question today. Why does reviving this airport matter so much? With yet another new initiative on the table, what is the actual potential that's at stake? Well, here's where things might, and I'm stressing the word might, be different. For the first time, this isn't just a one-off promise. There's now a concrete national strategy from the Civil Aviation Authority to revive Shamernagar as part of a bigger plan to reopen 7 dormant airports across the country. And if this actually happens, the ripple effect would be incredible. For the huge number of people from this region living abroad, it means a direct flight home. For the local economy, it would be a gateway to the famous tea gardens and resorts, which means a boom in tourism, trade, and jobs. And of course, it would become a valuable strategic asset for the nation once again. I mean, just look at this comparison. It lays it all out, doesn't it? What is now just underutilized land could become a thriving economic hub, Silet's second international airport. Difficult travel could become direct flights home, and an untapped tourist destination could finally open up to the world. So, after all this, is there really hope on the horizon? With a new national plan in place and a technical team that recently visited the site, you can't help but feel that maybe, just maybe, this time is different. And that really is the ultimate question, isn't it? After 80 years of history and more than 50 years of silence, the fate of Shamernagar Airport is hanging in the balance. The potential is absolutely undeniable, but so is the weight of all those broken promises. The real answer will only come when plans finally turn into pavement and those promises finally turn into planes in the sky.